Rise Roar Revolt is set in the 1920s when India was still colonized by British occupation. In a village, a little girl named Malli is seen drawing henna at the hands of a woman who is the British Governor Scott's wife. Shortly after Governor Scott arrived, his wife asked him to let her take Malli to the royal palace. He obeyed his wife's request and threw some money to Malli's parents as a sign that he had bought her. Her parents, unwilling to take Malli by force by Scott, cried and tried to bring her back. But her mother could not do much because the British troops blocked her and beat her until she fell unconscious. Meanwhile, in front of the Delhi City Police Station, residents were protesting and demonstrating to demand that the police release a practitioner. The police officers looked panicked by the residents' increasingly aggressive and anarchic demonstrations. However, one of the police officers named Rama was not at all daunted by the chaos and dared to break through the crowd of residents who were raging to carry out orders from a British colonel to arrest an activist named Bajanmat. Although Rama initially seemed to have a hard time because he had to hold back the angry crowd, he finally managed to get through the crowd and catch the activist. A few days later, the police agency awarded the police officers who had rendered services. Still, all of Rama's contributions the other day had not been appreciated by the top police officers. The next day, an Indian official named Venkat came to Edward, the British government's deputy governor, and asked him to return Malli to his family. Venkat explained that Malli came from the GAN organization, India's most aggressive social organization. At first, Edward underestimates the GAN organization, but after Venkat informs him that the GAN organization can defeat a very fierce tiger, he begins to panic and be wary. On the other hand, a burly man named Bheema, the leader of the GAN organization, seems to be doing strength training in the forest by fighting various beasts. A few days later, he arrived in Delhi and began to carry out his mission to save Malli. In Delhi, he disguises himself as a Muslim youth who works as a mechanic named Akhtar. On the other hand, Edward provokes the palace soldiers by saying that GAN's organization is moving to attack Governor Scott. Therefore, Governor Scott's wife intends to give promotions as special officers to whoever can catch the leader of GAN's organization. Hearing this, Rama volunteered to complete the mission and was determined to capture the leader of GAN alive. The next day, when Bheema was sending one of his subordinates to disguise himself as a worker at the palace, he accidentally met a young woman of British descent named Jaina. After seeing her beauty, he was fascinated by her elegance and fell in love with her. One day, when the revolutionary group was meeting to discuss a strategy to liberate India from British colonialism, Rama, disguised at the meeting, suddenly came up with the idea of killing Scott. Bheema's subordinate, Lachu, was amazed by Rama's courage, so he asked Rama to join their group. But when he realized that Rama was actually a spy from the British Army, he ran from Rama's pursuit until he finally managed to escape. The next day, while Rama was thinking on the bridge, he saw a boy who almost died in a train explosion that had an accident. He rushed to save the little boy with Bheema, who happened to be in that place. Thanks to their epic rescue action, they managed to save the boy from danger, and since then, they both decided to be friends. At that point, he still didn't realize that Bheema was the leader of the GAN organization, the person he had been looking for. The next day, Rama and Bheema resumed their respective missions. Rama keeps trying to find Lachu's whereabouts through facial sketches, while Bheema is looking for a way to get close to Jaina so he can enter the palace and save Malli. That day, he realized that Bheema had fallen in love with Jaina, so he also helped Bheema to approach her by making her car break down. After her car broke down according to their plan, he introduced Jaina to Bheema and said he would help take her to her destination. It turned out that Jaina was going to the market to buy some clothes for the little girl in the palace. Hearing this, Bheema realized that the girl she was referring to was Malli, so he left a bracelet for Jaina to give to the little girl. After that, she also gave the bracelet to Malli, and she was pleased with the gift because only her village made such bracelets. The next day, Bheema informed Rama that he had received a party invitation from Jaina to attend the dance at the palace. Hearing this, Rama was enthusiastic about Bheema's achievement and helped him dress to look neat at the dance later. A few days later, when the dance was held, Bheema came in a very neat suit and had a charming appearance, so even Jaina was impressed by his charm. They also enjoyed the party by dancing together and talking so that their relationship became close. After the dance, she invites him to go to the palace and talk together. On the other hand, Rama had managed to find the whereabouts of Lachu after realizing that he worked in a workshop where Bheema used to work. Meanwhile, after Bheema and Jaina arrived at the palace, he lied by saying he was feeling hungry, so she went to get some snacks. He also quickly used the opportunity to investigate every room to find Malli's whereabouts. After he found Malli in a room fenced with iron bars, he hugged her and held her hand. While crying, he apologizes to Malli because he still can't free her but promises to come back to save her. On the other hand, Rama, who had captured Raju, tortured and interrogated him to tell who and where the leader of the GAN organization was. But even though he has been tortured until his body is seriously injured, he still insists on holding on and doesn't say anything. After that, he secretly caught a poisonous snake and threw the snake at Rama so that Rama fell limp due to the snake's venom. When Rama was limping to ask for help from others, he suddenly fell unconscious because he could no longer hold the snake's venom. Fortunately, Bheema found Rama and took him to his place for treatment. When he treats Rama, he says he is the leader of the GAN organization and intends to infiltrate the British government palace soon. Hearing this, Rama was shocked and frustrated because it turned out that the person he had been looking for all this time was his best friend. In the evening, when Governor Scott came to the palace after going to England, Bheema suddenly infiltrated the palace by riding a large boxcar filled with wild animals. With directions from Bheema, all the beasts attacked all the British soldiers while he tried to find Scott's whereabouts. In the middle of the fight, he accidentally met Jaina, so he took her into a car so she was safe. After that, Bheema finds out that the key to enter the palace has been hidden by a subordinate of Edward named Robert. He also tried to fight against all the guard soldiers so that he could approach Robert and snatch the key from his hands. After a long and fierce battle, he finally managed to snatch the key to the palace door from Robert's hands. Unfortunately, not long after that, Rama attacked Bheema, which made him accidentally drop the key into the sewer. This clearly made him feel very disappointed and angry with Rama, so he began to fight against Rama. The battle between them was unavoidable, and they had to fight each other to complete their respective missions. The fight was quite fierce because both had great physical and fighting abilities. Still, because Rama had a weapon, he managed to defeat Bheema and forced him to surrender. The next day, for the services of Rama, who managed to capture Bheema, he was finally promoted to a special officer in charge of all weapons supplies. In the armory, he suddenly remembered the memories of the past when he was a child. In the past, when his father Raju was still alive, his father often led the village youth to practice war to defend their territory from the British invasion. Rama's father was previously a former British soldier. Still, he betrayed and chose to fight for his country's independence after knowing all the cruelty and cunning of the British invaders. One day, their village was attacked by British soldiers, so Raju had to continue to survive alone in the defense line to protect the whole village so that the villagers had time to hide in the forest. During the war, Rama suddenly approached Raju and helped Raju by bringing more ammunition boxes. Initially, Raju could still defeat the British army soldiers, but after his right hand was shot, he could not pull the trigger anymore. He then asked Rama to keep shooting at the British soldiers with his command so that all of Rama's shots did not miss. Other residents used the opportunity to escape into the forest, but Rama's mother had to die after being shot by bullets from British soldiers. Seeing his mother, who was killed by the enemy, Rama became very sad, but Raju kept asking him to stay focused so that he could save other citizens. Rama's efforts have forced the entire British army to retreat so that he can save the other villagers. After the war was over, Raju said that if with one weapon they could defeat the enemy, then with more weapons, they would surely be able to drive the British troops out of India. From then on, Rama promised his father he would fight to get more weapons for all freedom fighters in India. The next day, Bheema is brought before the residents and forced to apologize to Scott so that he is released from torture. But he refused, even though Rama had insisted on asking him to surrender so that he would not experience more torture. Rama also had no choice but to torture Bheema in front of all the Indians because he wanted Scott to think he was a loyal soldier. Scott's wife, who was not satisfied with the whip torment, ordered Rama to replace the torture tool with a spiked whip so that Bheema became more tormented. The residents who saw the torture became outraged and began to cause chaos by attacking the British soldiers. Unfortunately, the Indians could not do much because they had no weapons and could easily be repulsed by the British soldiers. In the evening, Rama's uncle, one of the British soldiers, told Rama that he had received an official letter to hold the rights to all weapons. He was relieved because all his efforts and struggles so far had succeeded in making him achieve his mission. However, after considering many things, Rama chooses to free Bheema and Malli, even though it can make all his disguises that have been successful exposed. Bheema also realizes that weapons are not the most important thing to get India's independence. Still, the most important thing is the spirit of struggle that can move all Indians to fight together. The next day, Rama asked Scott to allow him to bring Malli to Bheema's execution later because it would make Bheema suffer even more in the seconds leading up to the execution. In the evening, when Bheema was about to be transferred to the place of execution, Rama's uncle secretly inserted a razor into the car he was traveling in. The next day, he, who had succeeded in taking the razor blade given by Rama's uncle, tried to cut the rope secretly. On the other hand, Rama tried to help Bheema by blocking the road so Scott and his troops could not reach Bheema's execution site. After Rama arrived at the execution site, he took Malli and helped save Bheema, who was almost shot by British snipers. However, Bheema misunderstood Rama's presence and thought he wanted to kill Malli, so he beat him. After hitting Rama, he ran away with her into the forest to hide from the pursuit of British troops. A few weeks after the incident, the British government is still trying to find Bheema's whereabouts. At the same time, Rama is locked in prison after all the betrayals he committed to Scott earlier. On the other hand, Bheema and Malli are hiding in a shelter with Rama's lover, Sinta. Shortly after that, British troops came to conduct a search, but Sinta tried to prevent it by saying that several patients had infectious skin diseases in that place. Although Sinta had to get a little violent treatment from the British soldiers, she finally managed to repel them. After they left, Bheema helped her, and he realized that she was his lover. In the evening, Sinta explained that all this time, Rama had been fighting to become a British soldier to control all of their weapons so that he could provide weapons for revolutionary groups and Indian independence fighters. But when Rama has managed to control all the weapons supplies, he decides to cancel his mission to save Bheema and Malli. After that, Sinta showed a letter from the British government stating that Rama would be executed within 2 days. Hearing this explanation, Bheema felt very sad and sorry for Rama because he had just realized that Rama had been fighting for something bigger, namely for the independence of India. That night, Bheema promised Sinta that he would atone for his mistakes and bring Rama back safely. He secretly infiltrated the prison to save Rama. Knowing his arrival, Rama signaled him by continuously hitting the wall so that Bheema would know his location. After finding Rama's whereabouts, he unlocked the iron bars so Rama could get out of the rat prison. After that, Bheema carried Rama because his leg was injured quite badly, and he still couldn't walk. They also work together and unite their strength to fight the police who guard the prison so they can get out of it safely. After they escaped prison, they stopped in the middle of the forest to heal the wound on Rama's leg. Bheema also used the opportunity to pray in front of a god statue for protection and strength. When he was about to drink water, suddenly, British soldiers in disguise fired consecutive shots at him. Fortunately, he saved himself by throwing himself into the lake. Meanwhile, Rama, who had obtained a weapon, began to attack the British troops with great courage. Bheema also followed him to defeat the British troops one by one until he finally managed to kill Edward and other British government officials. When the fight was almost over, Bheema prepared to shoot Scott, and with directions from Rama, he was finally able to kill Scott. The next day, Rama returned to his village with a truck full of weapons according to the promise he had made earlier. Sinta welcomed his arrival with happy tears because he could finally return home safely. The film ends with Rama and Bheema successfully completing their respective missions and continuing their friendship forever. This film teaches us to never give up on achieving all of our goals and to appreciate every struggle that our ancestors carried out in the past.